welcome back to my kitchen for a brand new video. Today we are continuing the Ramadan recipe series here on YouTube with probably my favorite recipe. It's Kanafa cheesecake cups. If you've been following me over on TikTok as well as Instagram, I've been posting a bunch of recipes as a part of the Ramadan recipe series. And by the end of it, there's gonna be a total of 30 brand new recipes. If you'd like to keep up with all those recipes, I'll make sure to link them down below in the description, so make sure to check that out. Now, if you're not familiar with Kanafa, it's a really popular Arab/Middle Eastern dessert that has crispy shredded phyllo on the outside, and the inside is usually stuffed with like a sweet, cheesy layer. And then it's covered in a simple syrup, and it's absolutely delicious. So it's basically like a cheesecake because it's stuffed with cheese. So I thought, why not actually fuse it with New York cheesecake and create Kanafa cheesecake cupcakes? The recipe actually used to be pretty top secret because I started a business where I was selling boxes of them. That's how special you guys are. I'm sharing my family recipe with you, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And on that note, let's start baking. The first step in making this recipe is to make our ASHTA, which is basically like a custard or cream. You're gonna need heavy cream, whole milk, cornstarch, all-purpose flour, and vanilla extract. You're gonna add all the ingredients to a small pot over medium heat, and then you wanna continuously whisk it to prevent any clumping. Allow it to come to a boil, and once it's bubbling, it's gonna start to thicken up really quickly, and that's when you wanna make sure that you're whisking it really well. Once the ASHTA or custard is looking nice and thick like this, take it off the heat, transfer it to a bowl, tightly wrap it with saran wrap, making sure it's touching the top, and then transfer it to the fridge to cool down a bit. In the meantime, we're gonna prepare our shredded phyllo. So this is probably the most important ingredient you need whenever you're making Kanafa, and it's shredded phyllo dough. The boxes come in 1 pound, but we're probably gonna use a little bit less. If it's your first time buying this, you're not gonna find it at any supermarket like regular sheets of phyllo dough. You're probably gonna have to go to an Arab Middle Eastern kind of store and purchase it from there. We're gonna take about 12 ounces of the shredded phyllo and put it in our food processor. But here's a very important tip. You don't wanna put all 12 ounces in at once because it's gonna be really hard for the food processor to cut everything evenly. So do it in 2 batches. All the phyllo will come out the same length, which is exactly what we want. It's a little bit more work, but trust me, it's worth the extra mile. This is how you want it to look after you put it in the food processor. It shouldn't be too long or too short. It's also a lot easier to coat it all evenly if you go in with your hands and kind of like massage the shredded phyllo. And that's it for the phyllo dough. So 2 parts are done. We're gonna move on to the 3rd part, which is making our simple syrup. It's really simple. Okay, I'm not gonna make any more jokes. Yeah, so we're gonna go to the stove, make our simple syrup, then we'll make our cheesecake filling, and it'll all be basically just coming together after that. For the simple syrup, you're just gonna add water, granulated white sugar, and orange blossom water. If you don't have orange blossom water, it's totally okay, but I really like the flavor that it adds and highly recommend it. If you end up not adding the orange blossom water, add a squeeze of lemon just to cut a little bit from the sweetness. You won't actually taste the lemon juice in it. Bring to a boil, and once it's bubbling just like this, drop the heat a little bit and let it simmer for about 10-15 minutes or until it's completely translucent and a bit on the thicker side, and it has a consistency of syrup. Then we'll transfer it to a cup or bowl and let it cool down to room temperature, and we won't be seeing it again until the Kanafa cheesecake is out of the oven. Now it's time to make our cheesecake, and I'm going to be using my stand mixer with the paddle attachment, but if you don't have one, just use a bowl and a regular hand beater. Start out by adding the cream cheese, which is at room temperature, and the white sugar. Beat that together until it's really smooth and scrape the sides of the bowl as you go. Then you'll add in 2 eggs, vanilla extract, shredded mozzarella, 1 cup of the ASHTA that we made earlier. Mix again, scrape the sides of the bowl as necessary, and if needed, mix again until the batter is completely smooth. You want to make sure you don't overbeat it though, so you don't incorporate too many air bubbles. Once all the layers are done, it's time to assemble. Grab a cupcake tin and fill it with liners. Add about 2 tablespoons of the shredded phyllo to the bottom of each cupcake and press it down firmly. Then we'll fill it about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way up with the cheesecake filling. And then we'll add a little bit more shredded phyllo on top of that. Then we pop it in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit to bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. Once it's out of the oven, allow it to cool for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll add about 1 spoon or 2 spoonfuls of the simple syrup on top. Sprinkle with pistachios and dried rose petals, and then we're going to transfer them to a plate and pop them in the fridge to chill. Once the cheesecake is completely chilled, they are ready to enjoy. And now it's time for my favorite part, which is the taste test. The crunch from the phyllo is insane. You can literally hear the crunch when you take a piece. And then the filling in the center is so creamy. It's not too sweet. And then you have the syrup that comes in to really just like balance all the flavors. It's probably my favorite dessert, so I'm gonna sit here and finish the rest of it. If you have any leftover cupcakes, just like regular cheesecake, you're gonna store it in the fridge in a container and just take one out whenever you wanna enjoy one. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss when I upload a new recipe. On that note, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!